there, Dubbie crew. It's me, John, with the first box opening on the channel that we've had in a little bit, and especially since we got the sound quality all fixed for everyone, so hopefully this is coming in nice and clear for you all. What box are we going to do today? That's right, we've got Dominaria Remastered. Full box of draft boosters that we're going to open up here today to see what kind of great pulls we can get. This is a set that is a huge amount of fun. Not just to open, I really like opening it for nostalgic reasons, but also it's just a really fun set to have for draft as well. It is one that I've played a little bit of draft on here too, and it's always just a fun one to have for that. Nice little picture art. And what I really like with this insert as well for anyone who did get a box is it does kind of tell you the draft archetypes. My favorite forms of draft are when you have the dual colored, the two colored formats for draft where you've got 10 different sets for that. All of these are individually fun. I really like blink strategies. Goblins and zombies are really good for tribal strategies as well. And I also really like cycling. Lots of people will like different things here with it as well, but there's something for everyone in this particular set. Whether you're an old returning player, whether you're someone who's just played the set for a long time or for Magic the Gathering for a long time. And of course, if you are someone who has all of the card values front and center for yourself, it's really hard to beat a set that has Force of Will in it. And this set does. So we know what we're hoping to open, but overall, there's lots of other good hits in here too. There's lots of individual card cycles that are really exciting to see. And we'll just kind of go through here and see what we can get for it. Not going to go through the commons for anything particularly long, because we do have some useful lands that are in there, but a lot of this is really good for draft formats, but not necessarily for everything else. And we've got some uncommons. And we start off with a nice rare Mind Slicer. Not a bad card at all. And we've got for our alternate border, because this set does also have the old border cards coming back for several of them. You do have a wild growth here for that one, so I do like the old borders. The white font can definitely be harder to read depending on which ones you have, but overall it is definitely something I'm a fan of. And we've got a foil here too. Wormfang Drake coming in nice and clear, and another big benefit for these ones is the lands that you get are all the old border. And it's just really, really hard to beat that Plains overall. Like, that is just really good art. I love it. The land choices for this one were just really good across the board. I had no real complaints with it. I think the Plains is probably my favorite, even though I'm not necessarily someone who likes playing Plains all that much, but it's probably my favorite one out of the land cycle. But let's look through some more of them and see what you guys actually like as well. For those who are new to the channel, please like the channel, like the videos themselves, subscribe, and let us know if you want to see more box openings too, if this is the kind of thing that you're into. Sulfuric Vortex, not a valuable card in terms of being able to sell the card for money, but man, it is such a fun card to play. Very red. Ooh, and an old border Mind Stone. That's probably the hit from this pack, and probably the hit overall so far. Pop that over there too. This mountain is definitely my second favorite as well. Just so red and so good. Is that the same artist on those as well? That's John Avon. No, the other one's Eric Peterson. Okay. John Avon has good art land. Can't complain with that at all. So we're getting close to Phyrexia All Will Be One being in pre-release here. I believe that happens in about a week. Maybe it's this week? When does that actually come out? Yeah, I think it's this week actually that happens based on when I'm filming this here. Croesus's Catacombs. A Lieutenant Kirtar, okay. Reasonable card. Not one of my favorite ones, but can be useful. And an old border Sarah Angel. We're just hitting the old classic cards here under the old borders, aren't we? Again, no complaints with that. That is a reasonable one. It's an uncommon though, so we'll stick it down there. This Plains is also really good, and this one is the John Avon art. I think John Avon has one of all of the basic lands in the set. We'll probably see as we go through and open all these packs, but that's just a good Plains art too. All the lands are just hits in this particular set here too. And the rare land cycle, having the enemy check lands, I believe. Oh, counterspell. Nothing wrong with that. We'll take a counterspell when we can get it. Yeah, I think the enemy check lands are the ones that are in this set, the ones that check as to whether you already have one of the requisite lands on the battlefield to determine if it can come in untapped or not. Ooh, Old Border Time Stretch. Not exactly the blue mythic I'd like to hit from this set. It's definitely a good one. You get to take 2 extra churns. If you can find a way to cast that without paying its casting cost, because, I mean, having a casting cost of 10 is pretty expensive, but it is our first mythic, and it is an Old Border mythic, so we'll take it. No real complaints there. And a foil Old Border Recoil isn't bad either. That old foiling is just so much better than the new foiling. I don't know why they don't do that for all the sets, and maybe they're testing it out to see if they will go back to doing something like that. There are probably cards where the newer foiling is better. So I don't know, for these cards, have you guys found that the old foils are curling the way that newer foils actually do? Or are they staying uncurled a little better, much like the old foils from Beyond in the day? If you have been a Magic player for quite a while, the old foil cards I used to find, like if you have old 7th edition foils or something like that, I find that those cards don't curl the way that the current ones do. Whoa, we're doing good for not high value mythics, but alternate arts and alternate borders for the mythics. Gauntlet of Power is not really the one that we would want to see for a mythic either, but again, take a mythic when you can get it. The Old Border Frantic Search might actually be worth more because that is a commonly played card. Frantic Search is a pretty decent one. But we're only like a 1/6 of the way through the box at this point here, and we have already hit 2 mythics. Again, not the ones that I'd want. I hope that's not a sign for us not getting the good value mythics later on, but we won't know until we open them. And the best part of gambling on opening up cards is to see whether it was a complete waste of money or not. I'm sure you all feel that. Here we go. There's one of our enemy check lands, Hinterland Harbor. That's a pretty good one as well there. Nothing special with the border though, so it's just a normal one. And an Old Border Street Wraith, another commonly played card that doesn't have a lot of value because I know it's been reprinted to oblivion in this set here as well, but an Old Border Street Wraith just looks a lot better than the new border one. I do find the extended art on the Street Wraith kind of creepy too, so that one's sort of fun to see. Okay. Go through some of these commons here. Okay. Got some uncommons. Spiritmonger. Oh, and another Time Stretch. Again, this is not boding well for getting other good blue mythics, seeing as how we already have that one. The odds of that are really small. Again, I'll take a mythic. That's fine. So we're up to 3 mythics already. An Old Border Mog War Marshal. Okay. And a Spirit Link foil. That's fine. Not as good as the other mountain. Rob Alexander, your art's just not as good. Maybe your card art is better than some other card art, but John Avon wins the art for the lands here at the very least. Leave a comment if you agree, because I think most people do. John Avon's one of the best land artists. Ooh, Elvish Spirit Guide. That used to be like a $10 card for an uncommon, but has come down a lot because of being reprinted here, of course. And an Old Border Chainer Dementia Master. It's always good as a weird Lord effect. All nightmares get +1/+1. Not particularly useful for most tribes, but if you can figure out a way to make Nightmare tribal or something like that, then that's a pretty good play. No idea how many nightmares would be in Magic. I'm aware the card mostly just gives a benefit to its own cards or tokens that it's creating, but there are probably some other nightmares. And of course, you would have all of the tribal synergies from playing anything that has Changeling too. Divine Sacrament. Not a bad one. Ooh, High Tide as an Old Border. It's kind of neat. And our first split card, I believe, Wax and Wane. Never really a huge fan of the split cards myself. They're very versatile, but I don't like how you have to turn the card sideways to be able to read it. I always felt I have trouble reading sideways. I can read upside down better than I can read sideways. I don't know why that would be. But in order to read it when it's holding in my hand, then I might be giving away the fact that I have a split card. I wouldn't have been giving it away if I hadn't told people that that's how I have to read the sideways cards, though, so who knows. And, ooh, there we go. So there's our first definitive hint. Entomb is just a good card. Its price is a little deflated right now, of course, but it's going to come back up. That's just a well-used card, and the full art isn't bad either. Old Border Fadiasir, however you'd want to pronounce that. Faadia, I will say. Those cool planes. Can't go wrong with that. Alrighty. What else do we got here? Get it back into focus there. There we go. Valduk, Keeper of the Flame. Tormod's Crypt, always a hit as well. Denizen of the Deep. Well, if you like big creatures, there's not a lot that's bigger than an 11/11. So good to have. And Old Border. I think you get in this one an Old Border card, at least one in every pack. Maybe it's just one in every pack for the draft one. So I don't know what that's going to do to the value of the Old Border ones. I'm going to assume that depending on how much they reprint this, I know it's not a print-to-demand set, but they often have ways of hiding some of that so that they can do their Amazon sales later on and make sure that they get some money. Oh, Cryptic Gateway. Old Border too. Not bad. I don't know what it's going to do to the value of the Old Border cards. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Foil Ornithopter. If you have to get a foil common, then that's not a bad one to get. So we're about a third in. 3 mythics, can't complain about that. 2 of them are blue, but they're not the blue mythic that we want to get. Much rather have a different blue mythic than the one that we have. If I'd ended up with 2 Force of Wills, that would have been better, but never really seems to work that way, does it? I'm pretty sure some mythics are more mythic than other mythics. And the same works for a lot of the rares too. Old Border Clifftop Retreat. Better than the New Border Clifftop Retreat. And we've got an Impulse, just a common there. And another foil, Crozen Restorer. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Have you guys drafted a lot of this set? Either online or... This one was on Arena as well, wasn't it? Yeah. Not sure if you guys would have spent a lot of time drafting it, but it is a blast to draft. I really like how every color pair also has a signal post card that kind of embodies exactly what you'd want to draft with. Entomb again. Man. Replication of this one. Oh, Old Border Counterspell. It's not worth more than the Entomb, but if you're going to get a common Old Border one, that is a good one to hit. That's probably the most expensive Old Border common in the set. Also, Counterspell downshifted to common is pretty good. Is this the first time it was downshifted to common? Did it used to be common and then they made it uncommon for a while because it's really powerful? I don't know. It's definitely a good card. Puts all of your other counters completely out of the running. Sylvan Library, there we go. I'm not going to complain about hitting a Sylvan Library. That is a good mythic. And then an Undead Gladiator. I never liked how, with the Old Border cards, if it had something to do with the graveyard here, that you had a little tombstone up there. I didn't like that. I didn't like that they had that put in place. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it really added value to it. I don't think there were that many people who were confused over being able to have graveyard synergies with the cards. And I always wondered why they did it with graveyard synergies, but not for other synergies with your cards. Why didn't they do it for storm cards or something like that where you have a different border? What do you guys think about that? Oh, Old Border Gamble isn't bad either. Not bad. There's your red tutor as an Old Border. Not bad at all. I will certainly take that. I guess Entomb is kind of a tutor as well. And so you could say that all of the colors in the set have at least one tutor at rare. And then black, of course, has the much better tutor because that is one of black's fortes. Come on, focus camera. Since that's one of their fortes, they also have the second tutor with Vampiric Tutor, another one that I would not be disappointed to hit. There we go, so that's one of the goalpost cards that signals that you would want to be drafting in black and green Spirit Monger. I think their strategy, if I remember, is to play the Rock, basically just good stuff, like a grindy mid-game sort of strategy. Decimates there, that's fine. Spirit Link, that's a good card. Useful. Oh, old foil. See, again, the old foils, they're just so much better. Who does that art? Adam Rex. Okay, interesting. Not bad. Adam Rex, that's good art. I like it. And then the Swamp. So in other words, I like that they have the cards that are just really good for the strategy, so you can kind of figure out what other people might be drafting based on whether those cards are left or not. It's not a surefire way, they're only at uncommon, I believe, for all of them, so it's not like they have that rarity coming through. High Tide, again, as a full art, and then I think we have another full art card here, too. Chainer Dementia Master. I think that's also another duplicate. And then another old border one. This is another one of them, Tatyova. So if you like ramp strategies, if you're playing ramp, you're going to be taking that one while you're drafting. It's just a good card no matter what ramp strategy you're playing, assuming you're playing in green and blue, of course. But if you're ramping, you're probably playing green as a minimum. That is your ramp color, after all. Got some more commons here. Card quality I found with this set turned out really well as well. I don't have any miscut cards or anything, certainly not in this box, but overall I just haven't really seen a lot of that, so it's good to know that they clearly can do that when they put their mind to it. I don't know what you guys think, but overall the last, let's say 2 years or so, I think a lot of the prior problems with the card quality has been fixed. Not necessarily the quality of the cards in play or whether they're too powerful, but just the quality of the card stock, how foilings are curling, like the newer foils still curl, I understand that, but they seem to be doing it less than if we go back to like the Ixalan Amonkhet era. That seemed to be sort of a nadir of the quality for the cards, and that seems to have been improved. That bodes well for anyone who'd be looking for some shakeups to management at Wizards of the Coast, because I think that's how they managed to fix it this time around. Okay, so we are just really good at getting mythics. This is our 5th mythic already. But we're not so good at getting mythics that have financial value. Sarah Avatar is definitely a... Remember when that card was just deemed so powerful that there'd be nothing that you could possibly do against it, and now it's, you know, no one's auto-include. It's an auto-include, I guess, if you have like a life gain strategy or something, and if you're playing in white, that's one of the things white can do well, but when that card came out, it was just deemed too powerful for anything. There's another one of those signpost cards. If you're playing red and white, you're probably playing auras if you're drafting in this strategy. I think that's what they have, and that is a good card for that. Oh, there's a nice white mane lion. Old border. Not bad, not bad. So I'll be a little disappointed if our hit is Sylvan Library for this entire box. Could be worse by all means, but could be better too. It's not exactly the biggest hit out of the box. It might be like in the top 5 though, so, you know, I'm not going to complain that hard. It could be worse. Solkanar the Swamp King. Not a lot of value. Super fun to play though. Peregrine Drake, okay. Old border. Oh, another foil, another old border foil. Pashalik Mons as an old border foil. Okay. Interesting, interesting. We're getting close to 2/3 done the box, and then we're in the home stretch of one last third to go through. Okay, what do we got here? So when you guys are drafting this set, what do you think is the best draft strategy for Dominaria Remastered? Don't Squirrel Nest. Always got to pause for squirrels. Everyone likes playing squirrels, don't they? If you don't like tribal, you probably still like playing squirrels. It's just fun. Dark Withering is another fun one to say. You got to give Magic the Gathering a flavor win for a lot of the cards. Not all of them. There are definitely misses in there, but they know their way around a thesaurus to find lots of different words that you can fit into a set in a different way. What do you guys play Magic the Gathering for? More the gameplay? Do you like the flavor of it and nothing else matches it? What's the big win for Magic the Gathering? I'm going to move some of those commons down. Crop rotation. Body Snatcher. Not bad. There's definitely more old border cards in here than I would have thought before I started opening them. And I don't know if I like that or if I wish the old border cards had been more rare. Kind of on both sides of that, unfortunately, and I know eventually I'll have to pick one to be able to have any credibility in the community. You gotta pick whether you want the cards printed into oblivion so that everyone can have the cards that they want, because they're worth basically nothing, or do you want them to retain some degree of rarity where only a few people have them and that drives up people trying to collect them. Ooh, old border Ornithopter. Won't complain with that either. And I don't know where I land for that. Both have some pros and both have some cons, and so I would say there's some good and some bad with each piece. Okay. Damping Sphere, not bad. Another Body Snatcher. We are getting a huge amount of duplication, and I gotta say, it's not, except for the Entomb, it's not really duplication that I would want to see. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. What else can we get? I'm still really hoping that we get some more mythics that have some value. Or some more tutors. I don't think we ended up with any tutors so far except for the gamble. How about an enlightened tutor? That would be nice. Something along those lines. Overall, I'm worried this isn't really turning into the best box we could get. Another Gauntlet of Power. Well, that is a mythic. I should have been a lot more specific, I guess. We have 2 Gauntlet of Powers and 2 time stretches from this box. And a foil, Solkanar the Swamp King. Again, nice to get a foil, but these aren't exactly the things that I'm looking to hit here, everyone. Not really the best box. Be a lot better to get a better box than this, but we can do what we can do, I suppose. Better mythics than no mythics. I suppose that's always true, although if I had no mythics and had a whole bunch of more things like enlightened tutors or mystical tutors, I would take that in a heartbeat as well. Churn about. Oh, okay, enlightened tutor. Enlightened tutor is a great hit. I'll take that every time. Enlightened tutor, if all of the rest of the rares, we got no more mythics, but we ended up with nothing but enlightened tutors, I would take that. So I said I wanted an enlightened tutor, we get it like 2 packs later. I'd really like a Force of Will. I'd really like an old border foil Force of Will. Now I only have to wait 2 more packs, right? That's how that works. Okay, we've got Dedapult. It's a card. Decimate as an old border. Again, it's a card. I mean, it's a useful card. The play style for it's not that bad at all, depending on what your opponents are running. If they have a good variety of cards that they're playing, then you get to destroy a whole bunch of stuff for a pretty economical cost. I like that it's got the green flavor of hating a little bit of everything, and the red flavor of you're going to take a bit of a gamble to see if they have overextended themselves in the right ways. Icy Manipulator, deceptively good card. Saproling Symbiosis. I don't think anyone's really stating that's a particularly good card overall. Okay. Got like 7 more packs or something like that here. Keep doing what we can. So you guys looking forward to Phyrexia All Will Be One as well? I think it's looking like a pretty good set. Wrath of God, always a good card. Not a lot of value in it, but always a good card. And Cloud of Fairies. Playing fairies, that's good. I personally think Phyrexia All Will Be One has a huge number of hits for Commander as well, and these days, if you have lots of good hits for Commander cards, lots of new things that can change whole strategies, then that works out fairly well. I think it's also a really good set for Pauper, for anyone who plays that too. You now suddenly have a huge amount more cards that have poison or toxic in one way or another. Oh, okay. Old Border Birds of Paradise. I forgot that one was in the set. Or not Old Border, sorry. Old Border would be amazing. The extended art's not terrible, though, for Birds of Paradise. I will take that. And we've got an Old Border uncommon there, so we'll pop that one down. Full art Birds of Paradise. Hard to complain about that. Just interesting for green to have a creature with flying, too. They don't really get a lot of flying creatures, even though I know that's not what it's really used for most of the time, but it can help out in a pinch to be able to stick some equipment on it and get in some damage as well. What is it? Umbilicus? I don't even know what that card is. That player can pay 2 life. If they don't, they return a permanent they control to its owner. I mean, that's good if you're playing a blink strategy, I guess. I don't know. I genuinely have never heard of that card. I don't know if that's in any way good or if it's just there, but good that they're reprinting some older cards that I had no knowledge of whatsoever. I even looked through the set list and I just didn't see that one. Probably a failure on my end, I would guess, somewhere. Cryptic Gateway and Terror. We have that one as an Old Order foil too. Ooh, foil Elvish Spirit Guide isn't too bad. It's still a decent hit for an uncommon, even with its big price decrease. I assume the price for that one's not going to go back up because I think, if I remember, that one was only in Alliances and hasn't been reprinted since then. So that's, what, 27 years or something like that? And that's probably most of the value. It's a good card, but it's not so good that you just have to run it in most of your strategies. It's just a pretty good one. Opposition, not terrible. Opposition's fun. Gem Palm Incinerator as an Old Border. That's pretty useful too. I find it weird that I believe the only real tribal synergy within this one is in black and red, and it's just for zombies and goblins. That's an odd choice, but it's kind of interesting that not everyone has to play a tribal strategy while you're drafting as well, so I don't know what to make of that yet. Last Chance. So we did end with a mythic, but it isn't actually our last chance because this is our last chance and a lull for an Old Border. So, mythics, we did pretty well. I think we hit a good number of mythics overall in the box. Rares, we got a couple decent ones. Our Entombs are pretty nice. That Enlightened Tutor's pretty nice, so the Birds of Paradise is also nice. Overall, I'd say this is an average box. We didn't have a lot of the heavy hitters except for the Sylvan Library, but you could do a lot worse as well. I'd say it's just pretty average. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below, like the video, watch the whole thing and see the hits with me here as well. And let me know if you guys want to see some more box openings too. Until then, we'll catch you next time. Omnidirectional now, so hopefully it's picking up from a side that I'm using here. I'd be holding cards at about this level. If I'm opening them while I'm talking, you'd be able to hear that. We can put it near the microphone as well. I can also sort of tilt myself this way and see if that's more clear than it would be, although it will hurt my neck to be holding it that way that long, but let's see how that goes.